It's been 5 years since I did a tips video, and for good reason. I mean, it seemed like gamers the world over were getting the hang of video games and no longer needed my open, honest, non-sarcastic gaming advice. I remember thinking, 2010, the year that I retire as a gaming coach. The world's gamers have grown strong under my tutelage. But I'm coming out of retirement for a special game series that has given many gamers trouble. Pants-crapping trouble. I am of course referring to the jump scare carnival filled with mystery, stale pizza, and possessed, flesh-mangling animatronic robot murderers known as Five Nights at Freddy's. When Five Nights at Freddy's 1 dropped last year, I did what I always do. I stuck it on my Steam wishlist and then instantly forgot all about it. But then came an unstoppable wave of reaction videos and theory videos and the inevitable string of sequels and prequels. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I enjoy the occasional video game or two, and horror games are among my favorites. And I've still resisted Five Nights at Freddy's up to this point because I think jump scares are kinda lame. But when I see 13,000 positive reviews for an indie game that inspires people to record and publicly publish footage of their hearts blasting out of their asses in fear, I have to investigate for the good of all gaming kind. So I picked up all 4 games in the series so I can explain the proper way to play each one of them. Now strap into your stylish adult diapers because we're about to fire some incontinent ballistic missiles. Starting from the first entry in the series and working our way to the newest released Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Here's how to play Five Nights at Freddy's. As you can see, I've set up my own reaction camera so you can see how well I handle these games. Since I am the veteran of veterans and practically immune to such horrors as Cthulhu, Cenobites, Japanese children with long dirty hair, Predator, and McDonald's chicken nuggets, I expect that my facial expression will change very little during this special tips episode. Five Nights at Freddy's 1 puts the player in the uncomfortable shoes of a night security guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. So, in the same tradition as games like Cart Life, Reciteer, and Item Shop's Tale, and Papers, Please, this is a game that lets you come home from your dreary day at work, kick back, relax, and pretend to be somebody else at their dreary day of work. And what a dreary day it is for Mike Schmidt. Except it's not a dreary day. It's an entire dreary 30-hour minimum wage earning week in this nightmare factory. And that's the real horror of this game to me. Trying to figure out what went so wrong in Mike's life that he willingly submits himself to the terrifying risk of death and dismemberment for a whopping $4 an hour. I like to imagine that he's a relapsed meth addict, and this night job, aside from being the only job he can get, really fits well with his drug-addled insomnia. It also explains those times when I can't close the doors fast enough and poor Mike gets his meth-soaked entrails splattered all over the security office. And plus, it adds a nice anti-drug message to the whole experience. As a security guard charged with stopping any number of crimes that may be committed during your shift, you're naturally given no means of self-defense whatsoever. No pepper spray, no taser, no rape whistle, not even a modest automatic shotgun loaded with possibly illegal incendiary shells. And Mike, being the jacked up meth head he so clearly is, does not think of bringing his own self-defense items even after being menaced by Terminator spirit animals night after laborious night. Luckily, your job duties are simple enough that even a brain-dead meth junkie like Mike can handle them. 1, don't use up all the power, and 2, don't die. The first is the easier of the two. Power constantly drains at a slow rate and speeds up depending on how many devices you're using at the moment. Lights, doors, and the camera all consume power. All you really have to do to conserve power is not use anything, but this clearly causes problems for the second goal of keeping your insides, well, on the inside. Mikey Boy must strike a perfect balance between power consumption and monitoring the restaurant to keep himself alive. And I'll admit it gets pretty tense, even for an iron-willed, stoic, unflappable man's man like myself. My strategy is simple. Since Mike's life has gone so horribly wrong, I mean, he's got crippling drug addiction, a minimum wage job that constantly tries to kill him, absolutely no social nightlife, probably no friends, and he's working for a company in such financial trouble that they can't afford to keep the lights on or even the doors closed. So I figure Mike's best option in this world is the one that so many in his position have taken before him. Mike should let the animatronic nightmare creatures go ahead and kill him and get it over with. Now you might be thinking, but won't that make me lose the game? Yes it will. But this isn't how to win Five Nights at Freddy's, this is how to play Five Nights at Freddy's. Big difference. And letting Mike be devoured by the machine's insatiable hunger is clearly the most desirable outcome for all involved. I mean, if you really want to torture this poor man by forcing him to stay alive through each torturous night, then that is your decision, man. But just know that I fundamentally disagree with that playstyle, and in my heart of hearts, I consider you a sadistic freak of nature. May Freddy have mercy on your twisted black little soul. Moving on to Five Nights at Freddy's 2, you now take the role of Jeremy Fitzgerald, who is, you guessed it, the inexplicably immobile night security guard at another Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location. Do these irresponsible owners just keep hiring 500-pound land monsters who have no hope of moving their heinous masses before getting reverse engineered into base particles by these unfeeling, revenge-driven automatons? Anyway, Phone Guy is back and giving you sage advice, and there have been some healthy changes to both the player character and the restaurant's previously hazardous design. Unfortunately, there have also been some unhealthy changes, like emergency doors somehow not making it into the restaurant's construction budget. I mean, where are the owners of this train wreck of a franchise? They just can't seem to keep people from getting killed by their wholesome, singing, family-friendly murder bots. Now that I think of it, why do they even hire security guards? Why not just let the automated kill bots handle it if they're so good at murdering? Anyway, since the situation has changed, my recommended strategy has changed as well. Let's get into it. The restaurant is bigger than before, so there's an extra room to monitor. Instead of 2 entrances to the security office, there are now 3, and none of them can be blocked, which is a terrible idea, I know. Take it up with Mr. and Mrs. Fazbear, those incompetent, negligent cashmongers. The upshot is that the vents have lights that you can run forever, so it appears that the restaurant has solved its mysterious power issues. However, you have to keep clicking on it for it to show light, so there you go. 2 other bonuses are the bear mask that wards off certain monsters, and the flashlight which can reset others. New downside, the number of creatures has been cranked up to 11. Literally 11, that's not a Spinal Tap reference or anything. And on top of that, the flashlight has limited battery power, you have to wind a music box periodically, and there are 11 goddamn horrific monstrosities trying to shred you like a Rokusaki playing a Pantera guitar solo inside a Franklin Miller Taskmaster. Jeremy seems like a protagonist worthy of saving overall, which is a nice change from suicidal meth addict Mike Schmidt from the previous game. Jeremy still doesn't have a nightlife or make much money, but at least he has some defenses against the Fazbear's cast of death machines. Now the game is about being fast and smart and lucky as hell, so Jeremy might want to meth up, you know, just a little bit so he can focus. oneclipleft does not condone drug use in any way, shape, or form. Any life troubles you encounter as a result of drug use is not his problem. Clean your life up, dog, for serious. So, man the disgustingly outdated battle station and prepare for absolute madness to descend upon your weak mortal mind like a thick blanket woven of rusting pneumatic servos. And watch out for the puppet, man. That thing is complete bonkers. Like Bonker City. Shows up for no goddamn reason at all. And I don't know what his beef with Jeremy is, but that feud apparently runs deeper than a 58-year-old Taiwanese prostitute's tunnel of love. Keep Jeremy alive, and be sure to put on your bear mask before checking the cameras. A goodly portion of this game seems to rely on noticing and memorizing enemy behaviors, preparing accordingly, and just plain dumb luck. Keep that flashlight handy, and hopefully I'll see you all alive and with clean drawers for Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Now who wants pizza? For Five Nights at Freddy's 3, we're apparently back down to only one animatronic threat. And hell, I made it all the way through night 2 without dying or trying, so maybe Freddy and pals chose not to gnaw on my face like a succulent slice of Charleston Chew or something. The game manages to be both more and less frustrating than the first 2. The setting is changed to a haunted house attraction, hoping to capitalize on the macabre goings-on of the original Fazbear restaurants. You feature as the, wait for it, you guessed it, nobody saw it coming but you, the wacky security guard character. And luckily, you won't be smelling like boiling grease tonight, or the other nights. Actually, none of the nights will you be smelling like sourdough bread, oily pepperoni, or the ever-popular kid barf that the evening janitor totally missed by complete accident, complete with all of his chunks of crayons and crappy baked goldfish and whatever else kids shove into their endless maws these days. The real meat and potatoes of this incarnation of jump scares is how Fazbear Entertainment is full-on dead, Scott Cawthon has preemptively read my frickin' mind as I typed this in the past, and now someone has taken the next logical step of converting the whole thing into a family-friendly scare show designed to frighten paying customers and fucking kill security guards. As it turns out, you have to monitor 3 systems that constantly malfunction, and you must repair them whenever they do. That makes our nameless hero an ITAV specialist and an HVAC technician on top of being a security guard. It is nice to know that your avatar has come so far so fast. The building has reverted to a subpar version of the original game location in that the systems fail so quickly and so often that it's a wonder that the walls still stand at the end of the first night. I know, and I agree. Those corner-cutting, penny-pinching thieves who completely disregard the lives of their faithful security guards really need to stop employing people so impossibly heavy that not only can they not move, but they need to be airlifted into the all-important security guard's chair just to show up for work. So forget about the puppet, forget about the balloon boy, forget about Freddy, Chica, and Foxy. This new mangled horror called Springtrap is the only threat you'll need to guard against. And this filth-ridden asshole is the bane of your existence, so fear it well, noble knight guard. If you want to survive the third outing of this series, then you need to steel yourself against bullshit hallucinatory threats, meaning everything that isn't Springtrap. So, forget all you've learned, Grasshopper. This is the difference between alien and aliens. As long as you micromanage the hell out of the 3 fail-prone systems, there's literally not much else you can do besides close the occasional air vent. There's 2 unprotectable openings to your office, and looking at the cameras means that you can't see a damn thing that might be forcing its way into your face region for an intimate evening of death. One might be so inclined as to claim that it isn't fair. Well, boo-hoo for you. There is a secret technique that only secret agent samurai ninjas know, and good for you that I've been one of their numbers since I was about 6 and got my ass handed right on to me back in Final Fantasy I. And damn you, War Mech, all ruining my chances at killing Tiamat with your stupid nuclear attack. I'll never forget the moment I first defeated you and was inducted into the super secret group of elite warriors that I just made up. Best advice I can give you is go back to your NES, load up Final Fantasy I, and fight War Mech repeatedly until you finally kill that fascist son of a bitch, get inducted into the absolutely fictional Secret Agent Samurai Ninja Guild that doesn't even exist, and then come back to tackle Springtrap. He is only one enemy, need I remind you. Then you will be the Scorpion to every grasshopper that hops by. Good luck and see you at Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Now, the moment of truth. The jump scares have become steadily more severe. The animatronics have grown increasingly grotesque. Everything is falling apart, and you are at the dead center of it. Dead center. Falling apart. No more restaurants. No more haunted house tours. No more security guards or dead-end jobs. An innocent child stands awake in the safest place in the world. Guarded by your favorite stuffed friends, you brave each night with your trusty flashlight, confident in the belief that what you cannot see cannot harm you. So go to the door and listen. Listen closely for the cruel breathing that foretells your final end. Rows upon hideous rows of filthy, rusting teeth await you at the end of the hallway. Or is it the closet? Perhaps even in your own bed. Every shadow hides the faces, those dreadful faces. Is this all in your head? Is it? Well, click on the light and find out. Wouldn't it be rip-roaringly hilarious if this poor, maladjusted kid was being subjected to a twisted, psychotic joke his unstable parents devised? Wouldn't that be some shit right there? Like, hey, honey, put on this disgusting gore-coated suit and let's go damage our kid for life. Okay, Todd, sounds good to me. Blah, blah. And of course, the dad's name is Todd. Pfft, Todd. The hell kind of name is that? Anyway, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is a different kind of beast, more in the vein of Among the Sleep, but without the emotional punch that the narrative expertly delivers. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 casts you, the foolhardy player, as a young child attempting to ward off the most horrifying, nightmarish versions of the Fazbear cast we've seen yet. Will this game scare you? Hell to the yes. I almost skunk sprayed my entire domicile just from watching a YouTube video of someone else playing the first night of the game. This change of scenery is welcome though, as a child's bedroom is supposed to be a symbolically safe place. But at 4 AM, those shadows become familiarly menacing for me. Believe it or not, your unstoppable game-shattering bastion of hope and light right here was once afraid of the dark. But I overcame that minor flaw by learning how to be amazingly awesome at both video games and even more video games. Plus, there are now 4 danger zones to monitor, with one position right behind you, which means this game can get disorienting pretty quickly. You can shine the light on your bed to chase away the little guys, and you can temporarily close each of the 3 doors in the room to protect yourself. The game mechanics are flipped from earlier games in that the light can often trigger an attack rather than warding it off, which is something that unfortunately only trial and error can teach you. This is a series that will break and redefine its own rules as it sees fit, which I'm actually okay with because it keeps the experience fresh. The dread of initially not knowing what to do to save yourself is core to these games. Otherwise, we'd be all, yeah, I blew through the newest game. No big deal, man. Same as the last one. So, how do you play Five Nights at Freddy's 4 properly? You can't. As simple as that. Ignoring that the title of the name is a complete misnomer because you're not even at Freddy's anymore. I mean, unless Freddy is your dad, Todd, which makes perfect sense to me. There really isn't anything you can do but hunker down, dig in, and throw yourself at this game until you manage to luck out and complete all the nights. So, listen to the doors, keep an eye on the closet, and keep checking your bed, because regardless of whether you can see it or not, these things can and will kill you without a second thought. And how this all fits into the lore, I'll leave Matt, Pat, and the Game Theorist to tackle. But if you made it through the first 3 weeks at Freddy's, then you might stand a chance of conquering the newest batch of high-octane nightmare fuel that this series seems hell-bent on throwing at us. Night after night, death after death. And that, my friends, is how you play.